Turning now to your community focus, we are joined once a month here in studio on 12 News at 4 by Attorney General Peter Neronha to talk about the latest happenings in your office. Thanks again for being here today.
Sure, Kim. Great to be with you.
So I want to start with something. Just today, retired Pope Benedict asked for forgiveness for any grievous faults in his handling of clergy sex abuse cases. And just last week, a local Catholic priest was placed on leave after your office forwarded some new information to the diocese. But this same priest was accused decades ago. At the time, the diocese said those allegations were not credible. What did they miss?
Yeah, it's hard for me to say, Kim. You know, we have a broad investigation going on into clergy abuse, and I expect to share that with the public sometime, late spring, early summer. And I can just say that last week we got information from a complaining witness. We followed up on that information with the state police, and unfortunately the statute of limitations for sexual assault, second-degree sexual assault, is only 3 years. And so that case, a potential case, was outside the statute of limitations. But we felt it was important, given the seriousness of those allegations, to let the diocese not only make sure they were aware of it, but also ask them, what are you going to do in response? And the next day they announced that he had been relieved of his pastoral duties. But again, that one particular case, is, I really think about it in the context of a whole series of issues and problems over many, many decades that we'll be in a position to share with the public in a few months.
And you said maybe this spring you would release that comprehensive report.
That's my hope, yeah.
Providence Police Sergeant Joseph Hanley, who viewers might remember was convicted of beating a suspect, is now appealing that conviction, wants to move his upcoming trial in Superior Court to South Kingstown, saying that's the only way he's going to get a fair and impartial trial. Your office, as I understand, plans to file an objection to that. Why? Yeah,
that's right. We think that that Sergeant Hanley can get a fair trial like anyone in Providence County. There's nothing that we think that would prevent that from happening. Jurors sit all the time in Providence, state and federal, and they make the right decisions. And so we're comfortable trying the case in Providence County, and we're going to seek to have it stay here as it should.
There's been a close to 2-decade-long legal saga happening in Block Island involving Champlin's Marina and the proposed expansion of that marina into the pond there. It's been closely documented for those who want to read more by the Hummel Report in the Providence Journal, but your office got involved last year, and I understand just today you filed a brief in this case. What's the latest? Yeah,
so that case is now in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court really needs to decide this critical question, which is when you're an administrative body like the CRMC, it's my view, that when they're analyzing a marina expansion, they make findings of fact and they make rulings of law. And then you can appeal that to the Superior Court, as what happened. They ruled against the expansion a few years ago. That was upheld in Superior Court. Later, last year, 18 months ago, that was settled sort of outside the administrative procedure process. It sounds kind of technical, but the bottom line is this: that when a regulatory agency makes a decision, it should be grounded in the facts and grounded in the law. And you can't negotiate those things away, because how do we know that the negotiated resolution still adheres to those findings of fact and rulings of law? So that's a principle that applies not only to Champlin, but how our regulatory agencies, all of them, Department of Health, DBR, DEM, CRMC, do their business. We feel that the way they did their business in the Block Island case was wrong. We want to advocate for a different kind of approach, a better principle, if you will, and we hope to get that conclusion in the Supreme Court.
So you believe, not just for people on Block Island, this has broader implications.
Oh, it does. Yeah, look, this could literally affect how regulatory bodies reach decisions. The way the public has confidence in those decisions is they see the decision making happening, and there's a record of what that agency found, meaning they found certain facts and they applied those facts to the law. When you walk out of that public setting and you negotiate a settlement kind of on the side, the public doesn't know what you did and why. And if we're going to have confidence in our regulatory bodies, and there are so many of them, I ticked off a few of them, it's got to be open, it's got to be transparent, and it's got to be grounded in those findings of fact and rulings of law. That's what we believe the law says, and we're hoping to vindicate that principle in the Supreme Court.
Just last month, your office announced some settlements with multiple companies regarding the opioid crisis to the tune of $114 million. And you said the state would start seeing that money in about 2 weeks, which is about now. Has that money started rolling in?
Yeah, we think it'll be here in a matter of days, that there'll be $4 million already coming in within just a couple of a few days from now. And look, 20% of that is going to go directly to the cities and towns, and then the remaining 80% will go into an opioid abatement fund. And then through the procedure we set up as part of the settlement, where community, public health officials, community members, state and local officials will direct or make recommendations to the state agency that will really guide where that money goes. But the bottom line for all the money, and coming in over time, I think is a good thing because it's going to fund programs as those funding needs come up. Every dollar is going to go to opioid abatement. It's not going anywhere else. That was critical to the work that we did. It's why we structured the settlement the way we did, and that's where that money's going to go.
And just about 30 seconds left. This month, your office took action against 2 Providence landlords for failing to remediate some lead hazards.
Yeah.
You issued multiple citations to them. Multiple children ended up getting lead poisoning from these properties. We know there are a lot of older homes in Rhode Island. How big of an issue is this? 500
kids a year, Kim, are lead poisoned, determined by the Department of Health from blood testing that they get as a matter of course when they're very young. 500 kids each year. And so this was an enforcement action. This is one of 4 that we've taken. 9 other landlords have done the right thing after we filed what are called demand letters with them. We didn't file an actual lawsuit. They came to the table and cleaned up the problem. If landlords don't take the Department of Health, which in the first instance lets them know from an inspection they've got a lead problem, they won't remediate it. Our office has to stand behind the Department of Health, let them know that state regulators are serious so that we can protect these kids from the terrible effects of lead poisoning. It really hurts kids and pregnant women in significant ways.
Rhode Island Attorney General Peter Neronha, thank you as always for your time.
Thanks for having me, Kim. It's great to be with you.
And looking ahead to tomorrow when we will be joined in studio by congressional candidate Omar Ba. He'll be talking about why he wants to take over Congressman Jim Langevin's seat. That's coming up tomorrow right here on 12 News at 4.